Well, that guy you just showed, Jenna, is at number 5, and that's Jayson Tatum. Now, some may be surprised. Should a Celtic even be on the Bud list? I don't feel there's much pressure on them in this series. They're young. The Warriors are the favorites. You know, all of that is going on. But I got to say this. You're there now. You are in the finals, and you have a chance to win it, and Jayson Tatum is the Celtics' best player. He's the face of their franchise. Bradley Beal, another star in the league, said he could be the face of the league. All right, so this is Jayson Tatum's time to snatch a championship and begin a run. When all those discussions about the best player 25 years and under in the league, he was in them, but he really didn't top many of them. It was Zion, it was Ja, it was Luka. Here's a chance for Jayson Tatum to say, no, it's me. So I put him at number 5 on the Bud list. All right, at number 4, David Griffin. All right, that runs basketball operations for the New Orleans Pelicans. You know what's going on. There's talk, there are reports that they're going to offer Zion Williamson an NFL-style deal. In other words, non-guaranteed, non-fully guaranteed. Here's the deal. If you do that, do you upset Zion and then he wants to leave in the future?
Yes.
Or if you just give him the money, as Nick's suggesting, give him the whole $180 million plus, fully guaranteed, and he gets hurt or continues to get hurt periodically and can't play regularly, now you've screwed up your cap situation on a team that really is beginning to look promising. All right, at number 3, Kevin Durant. Whether it's his old teammate Draymond Green mentioning his name, whether it's KD himself fueling the fire by going at it with random fans on social media, or whether it's the fans and the traditional media itself, none of us are letting it go that the team that KD left is back in the finals. And a lot are saying, well, he went to Brooklyn to prove that he could win it on his own. He went to Brooklyn because he knew he'd never get the credit he deserved in Golden State. Well, if Golden State wins it without him, that hurts KD. And both of those things are related to this. And it will embolden those who already think that those 2 rings he got in Golden State were easy. But you know this, Wilds. The Bud list is about motivation. So I would say to KD, let this fester. Let it hurt. Let it eat you up inside and come out next season and win that title for Brooklyn. All right, at number 2, we got Draymond Green. Now, Draymond Green got a flagrant 2. We all remember it against Memphis when he fouled Brandon Clark. He's 2 points away now from missing a game. That means if he gets 2 flagrant 1s or 1 flagrant 2, which is very possible with Draymond, he will have to sit out a game. And these 2 teams are so evenly matched, I think, that if a key player on either team misses 1 game, that could be the difference. And Draymond is hugely important for Golden State. We all know that. We saw what happened in 2016 when he missed just 1 game. Just 1 game in a series they were up 3-1, turned everything around. So Draymond's got to keep his cool. He's got to play with his edge. He's got to play with his fire. But he also has to keep his cool and make sure he doesn't get suspended for any of these games. And at number 1, Jenna, a week ago, I didn't think this was the case at all. I didn't think he was facing pressure at all. Because Steph Curry is a made man 3 times over, 2 times MVP, only unanimous MVP ever. And so I felt like this is house money he's playing with. Icing on the cake, gravy. But there has been so much talk about him having to win the finals MVP. It kind of seems like if the Warriors win the championship and Steph's not the finals MVP, some people will discredit him. And so I hope he's not thinking this. I hope he's not reading this stuff, watching this stuff, because I don't think, Nick, you can't go into a series thinking, not only do we need to win, I got to be the finals MVP. I got to get this award. He needs to just be focused on winning. And so, but he is on the Bud list because the pressure now is over.
All right, decent list. The only exception I would take is, as I declared yesterday, I'm a KD guy now. LeBron, Luka, KD, my 3 favorite players in the league. I would take KD off. KD's under no pressure. He's hanging out, playing video games on Twitter. He's living his best life. I'd take KD off the Bud list entirely. You know, I'm going to add to the Bud list, however, Mike Trout. Hey, Mike. Wow. Jock Peterson's figurative and literal blood is on your hands. Mike Trout is a vessel for who's really on the Bud list. Fantasy League commissioners. Don't take the job if you're not up to the task, fellas. Listen, I understand it can be a thankless duty, but if you step up to do it, don't all of a sudden not enforce your rules. Don't have lack the courage to step in between the inevitable disputes between fantasy players and declare a ruling like the great Hammurabi would. Guys, if you are going to take on the mantle of Fantasy League commissioner, that's not a part-time job. That's a full-time, 24/7, 365 job. And if all of a sudden 2 of your Fantasy League players get in a physical confrontation over a year-old dispute, that's on you, buddy. That's bad commissionering. So Mike Trout, evidently, as many quality fantasy commissionerships as he has quality playoff runs. Trout, get it together. Hey. And other fantasy commissioners, get it together. Sorry, listen, facts are facts, pal. And so there it is. Mike Trout and fantasy commissioners everywhere on the Bud list. Team Tommy Pham over here.
Okay, right. I don't want to poo-poo your addition to the Bud list, but I wish I could unsubscribe to any and all updates around Mike Trout, Jock Peter. I just want to unsubscribe. You know, the problem is people say, like, we live in our news bubbles, and you don't get to hear about other news outside of your own bubble. I wish I did, because this keeps on coming into my news feed. I don't want it. I don't care about your fantasy league, whether you're Mike Trout or my neighbor or my buddy from high school. I don't care at all. Oh, you should have seen it. If I had the catch, I would have won. But
listen, Wild, you make a good point. Instead of Mike Trout Fantasy League and Jock Peterson Fantasy League updates, people need more 30-minute discussions on how we should adjust trophies. That's a better one. Get out of here. Everybody needs the Fantasy League thing. Everybody needs the Fantasy League thing, buddy. Wild's out here talking about trophy size like that needs to be in news feeds. But go ahead,
He's been on that corner
You're going to take a shot at my Bud list edition.
Okay.
Enough of that.
He won't let it go. He won't let it go.
Okay, that's a shot because I did Bill Simmons' podcast, and Nick is so obsessed with me, even though we talk for 10 hours every day, and 10 hours every week, and a meeting, which probably gets us up to 12. In his spare time, he's like, what's Wild's up to? I'm on the podcast. My goodness. I listen to What's Right. I listen to a lot of What's Right, too, so I give you credit. All right, my answer, Broussard. Sorry, a little detour. I'm saying free agency? ? Yesterday, Steve Kerr, during Media Day, took a shot at just free agency in general, maybe. Maybe the Lakers? Maybe just anyone who's building a super team, if we can show the quote. Steve Kerr on Warriors Celtics. What I like is it's 2 teams that are mostly built with patience and through the draft and development, player development and continuity. I think that's good for the sport. I thought it was interesting, and it's an angle that I hadn't looked at. I'm like, wow, there was a lot of patience with the Celtics. And the Warriors were also built through the draft, if you don't count that small window when they got the second best player in the NBA to join their team and get finals MVP.
Right.
But I thought it was interesting. Do you think that the way that these teams were built will actually kind of get us away from the build a super team, go out and get a star model, and people will start putting more emphasis on the draft?
Wiles, I think that's a great discussion that is going to be had over these next few seasons. And we're going to have to wait to see how it plays out. But Ja Morant's talked about loving Memphis, right? Luka obviously is there in Dallas. And they need to add somebody. They definitely need to add a star. But I don't know that it'll be a quote-unquote super team or player-generated super team. So, Nick, it's going to be interesting to see, are we on the cusp of kind of a new era where you don't have the player-generated super teams anymore that really were, that was LeBron and KD going to Golden State. Those are the main ones. A lot of them haven't worked. Remember Melo tried to do it with Amari Stoudemire in New York? Kawhi and Paul George has yet to pay off. The Brooklyn triumvirate of KD, Kyrie, and Harden. Harden's out of there. So this might be more organically built teams. We'll see. But here's the problem, Wilds. The pressure comes. LeBron wasn't thinking about doing that when he was early on in Cleveland. But the pressure comes after you've gone so many years, haven't won it, and you're a great individual player, and people start, yeah, but can he win? But can he win a ring? Can he win a finals? Michael did this, LeBron did that. And that's when you'll see, will these young guys have the patience to stay with their franchise and build rather than joining forces? Go ahead, Nick.
It's also, to me, an intellectually dishonest statement by Kerr. Because it's not only that the 2016 champion was LeBron and company that they put together on the fly. The 2017 and 18 champions were the Warriors plus Kevin Durant. The 2019 champion added Kawhi Leonard. The 2020 champion added Anthony Davis plus LeBron the year before. It's just the only true organic team is the Bucks, who, by the way, added Drew Holiday. But set that aside. The Warriors and Celtics did not come together the traditional way. The Warriors have Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga because of the trade for Kevin Durant. When Kevin Durant left, they did a sign-in trade, got D'Angelo Russell, flipped that into Wiggins and Kuminga. And the Celtics were able to do this through the draft because another team traded them all their draft in Brooklyn. Like, this wasn't, we're just going to go through the battles, keep our picks, build that way. These teams only became these teams because of the detritus of other super teams or teams trying to be super teams. So no, I think it's nonsense.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.